A very short update. I'm here obviously in lovely Lviv. You can see the university behind me, and there has been some developments in the last week and the last few days since I made a video here in the city. We had a pretty iconic photo of Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, speaking with Donald Trump, the US president, at the present of the Pope, who just passed away, and Pope Francis. And yeah, there's some positive rhetoric that came out of the mouth of Donald Trump afterwards. He was more conciliatory towards Ukraine. There was also an interesting scene where the French president, Emmanuel Macron, kind of handshaked Volodymyr Zelensky in front of Trump and then avoided shaking Trump's hand. So I think we're getting a little bit of an idea of the feeling in Europe towards Donald Trump and his attempt at rapprochement with Russia and the sacrifices that he seems to be insisting that Ukraine make. There is a counter proposal from the Europeans that basically insists that the US will be involved in providing some sort of security guarantee that up until now Donald Trump has been against. So do I expect this to lead to some sort of peace deal? Unfortunately not. Donald Trump at times has, depending on who he's spoken to last, said things that sound very pro-Ukrainian, and only the next day or the next days to suddenly reverse that and just forget about the fact that he says a lot of things that he suddenly denies ever having said, like when he called Zelensky a dictator, and then basically, I can't believe I ever said that a few days later. So unfortunately, the rhetoric has already changed back to being not so pro-Ukrainian for Donald Trump in the last 24 hours, and that's where I expect this to go. I don't expect there to be any peace deal, and it looks increasingly likely, as it has for the last 2 months, that the US basically wants a rapprochement with Russia. If it's unclear if they want an actual alliance with Russia, which would be, of course, extremely disturbing for all of us here in Europe. But at the very least, they don't want to assist Ukraine at all in resisting Russian aggression over the medium term. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with respect to the intel that the US has been supplying and the Biden era financing and military support that has been appropriated for Ukraine, whether that is all delivered, and the time span. It is expected to be basically completed by the middle of this year. And after that, there isn't much of an indication that Donald Trump will continue to support Ukraine. He did make these positive noises about more sanctions and secondary sanctions on Russia that will make some sort of difference, but Russia so heavily sanctioned so far would be probably just a little bit incremental more than a game changer at this point. And yeah, that's kind of where we are. The diplomatic coming and going will continue over the next week, and basically Ukraine is working on a plan B, a plan to deal with winning this war without US support. And that is something that I reacted to as a possibility over a year ago, I think at this point, when that US aid package was held up in Congress, that was eventually passed during the Biden era. Towards the end, it was been held up by Donald Trump and other Republicans. And I posited that Ukraine would still, on balance, probably win, emerge victorious. However, it would take many more years, and an enormous amount of people would probably die or have their lives destroyed in the meantime. So it's definitely going to prolong the war by a long way. And pretty shortly, it looks like we're going to find out exactly how that will play out. So yeah, Ukraine needs to be working as plan B. They need to find replacements for everything the US gives them, whether it's Patriot missiles, Starlink, the intel. It's going to take a long time, and it obviously will strengthen Russia in the short term, but medium term, all those things can be provided by Ukraine and its allies if there is enough willingness and investment. So drop your comments down below about how you think Ukraine should develop a plan B, and I will be shooting some more videos from here in Lviv over the coming days on different topics with respect to the Russo-Ukrainian war. Down below in the description is my guide for coming here to Ukraine. I'll give you some good advice about how to stay safe, obviously with the caveat that this is the biggest war in Europe since World War II, and you need to be prepared not to do it lightly coming here. Also got my hospitality guide that I've been updating since I've been here in Lviv for the best cafes, restaurants, and all that good stuff in cities like Kyiv, Lviv, Odessa, Uzhhorod, and Chernovtsi. And you will, it's pretty hard nowadays to find that information online. If you're coming here for, a short amount of time, then it will save you lots of time having to figure it out yourself. So I encourage you to come to Ukraine and support Ukraine in any way you can, and see you very shortly in another video. Do побачення and Slava Ukraini from Lviv, Ukraine.